And joining me today is Spencer from Florida. I don't even know your last name.
Uh, Starts with a B, and it's one of those places people go to drink at.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I do know you. I do know your last name.
I
So
usually don't. I usually don't share it because there's a lot of weirdos, but it is on my Instagram, so it's all.
ah, well, Spencer and I, you guys, when you are joining in, please let us know where in the world you're watching from. We get people from all over the world, and I'm going to be closely monitoring the caption or the comments. So if you have questions for Spencer or me, please write them in the comments section. Today, we're going to be talking about frequency and technology. I'm going to show you this little wand that I'm using, and Spencer's got something absolutely amazing to show us. So, Spencer, tell us what it is that you wanted to show us.
Honestly, when you say it's amazing, it's like let's not overshoot it. It's a small Tesla coil. Consider it a gift or a toy that you can literally get on Amazon. But when we say it's a Tesla coil, do you see this little point
Yes. Yeah.
tip? You can find this out in the real world. Imagine this in old world architecture, and these are what they were using. And so these technologies that have been suppressed from us and that are right around us, we can literally play with in our homes and teach our kids with. And it comes with this little kit to where you can wirelessly light up LEDs. So if I'm holding this right here and this is on, it's going tat, 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 tat. I
Yes.
I can make musical beats out of this. And I have a little bit of a music background and I have a lot of fun. I can literally, with my hands, people used to go ta 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 ta. I can do beats with plasma and turn on LEDs wirelessly from it. One of my favorite things that I've done with this thing is I put the exoskeleton of a cicada on the top, and the pattern in which the sprites of the plasma come out, the fractal patterns that come out is insane. And once you start learning fractals and sacred geometry and all of these divine frequencies, you can start to really understand just how far technology has been kept from us. A long time ago, they gave us a specific amount of technology, and they had a lot of the great minds. They said, okay, recreate all this old world technology. Here's some old world patents, but you have to do it with petroleum. You can't use etherical energy from the air. Can't use it. You can't use electrostatics. You have to use oil, but create the same thing. And so that's kind of where I think we are. I think we're easily controlled because of technology, as in the ones that are controlling us physically, only physically, they are using technology that we just don't understand when it's all around us and everybody could learn it so fast. This is not my expertise. I literally play with things like this. This was a gift sent to me from a follower. They sent it.
Really? And you could get that online?
Yeah, I think you can get this model on Amazon. I'm not sure.
What is that called? And what is the let's talk about the purpose of frequency.
The purpose of frequency, frequency to me, it just is. It's everywhere. Tesla said everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. That's a famous line everybody's talking about these days. But I think we all need to understand where we're headed with frequency and control and health. As you know, you're already very like kind of in with the people that know about frequency and health and healing. There's a whole massive line of healing products that are frequency based. There's products to where you can have a box in your home and it's a Schumann box. And this box will pulse at the Schumann resonance and it will literally counteract any of the dangerous radio frequencies or EMF from coming anywhere near you within that range. And there's a doctor that has reached out to me from Germany who sells these all over the world that is bringing them here. And he wants me to sell those for him. And but they're pretty pricey. And I said, when you get me one to a loaner and I can play with it and test it, then we'll move from there. But just from those boxes to all types of other devices, pennants you can wear around your neck that pulse in that manner. So say you have a pennant. What was the brand? It was a Schumann. It was also a Schumann resonator. It was
And
from
let's go back. When you say Schumann resonator, what frequency is that, and why is that different than other frequencies?
So that frequency is the frequency of the earth, the one that your feet are supposed to be connected to at all times. You know, Ted knows metronome, right? When Ted goes to a studio, we have a metronome, you know, the click.
Yeah.
So that metronome of the earth is 7.83 hertz. And while we're here in our physical bodies, our bodies are electromagnetically designed to be completely attached to that. If you look at your fingertips, they're little sensors. Really look at your fingertips and your toes and your feet. All those little spirals that go to a point, those are your sensor locations. And you can be directly connected to the charge, the frequency of the earth, which is the metronome. And once you're connected, your body is now just like in any circuit that you would ground, works way better if it's grounded. You wouldn't want your house to go up in flames because of all the static charge. If the wind blows, it can increase static charge in your electrical system. So we want it to be grounded, so any extra stuff can be discharged throughout the ground. We also always want to be discharging all of this extra static charge we're getting from Wi-Fi's and high voltage and all this stuff. And the way we do that is we have an ability for the extra charge to discharge by being grounded. And at that same time, we are connected to how our body is designed to resonate. All of the communication in our body will be better if we are grounded. That's how serious grounding is. And people do not, they're sleeping on it. I'm literally sleeping on it. I have grounding sheets and pillowcases that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you did a video about that. I want to tell you, I'm monitoring the comments, and one person here is trying to say that God God never changes, and the connection needs to be with His Word. Totally agree.
Yep.
We're talking about healing the body from Wi-Fi, from radioactive waves that are in our air, soil, and water, and healing our bodies, our temples, with natural things that God made for us to use. One of which I want to show you. This is it's a facial wand pro, and this is gonna. I'll see if this will work. I'll turn it up to my microphone. See if you could. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
So probably too much information. I have rosacea, and when it flares up, like, I don't want to take drugs. I want to heal my body with frequency, and that's what this does. It's called a facial wand pro, if anybody's interested, or pro facial wand. And I'm telling you, I also did a Tesla technology. It's called quantum pulse. And you just sit there, you put your foot near it, and the frequency, what if we could heal ourselves? What if what they're doing to us, we all know about chemtrails. Hopefully I don't get blocked or anything for that, but we all know what's going on. We need to be proactive. We gotta fix our health so that we can continue to help others and wake other people up about what's really going on.
I think a lot of people will think it's taboo. Say if you're a religious fundamentalist, they may think it's taboo, but like just understanding the moon cycles to grow your food properly, like that's not something that's, should be shamed upon. That's knowledge of creation. So I think there's a intentional misconception of a lot of things, because I think that some very corrupt churches in the past have tried to keep us from understanding divine frequencies and connecting to divine creation. I'm not saying to worship this stuff. That's not what.
Right. That's not what we're talking about at all. It's like, do you take vitamins, or do you have exercise or whatever? We cannot just sit there and wait for God to send us a sign that we're healing. He wants us to be proactive. Yes, he wants us to be in the Word. Yes, he wants us to communicate with him, but we also have to be proactive about what we're putting into our bodies, what we're doing to our bodies, how we're utilizing God's gift to us, our physical bodies.
Yes. And when you have a huge faith and you have this huge light inside of you, you absolutely internally can create a frequency and almost a perfect bio shield. Yes, that is what it's all about in the end. But at the same time, if I put my bare feet on the ground underneath those massive high voltage lines going through the forest, my feet on that ground, like you were saying, the frequency charge of the earth, there's water in that. Most people don't know that when the ground is wet, it's stealing power from the power lines wirelessly. So the ground below those is not where I'm going to want to take my shoes off and ground, because it's manipulated by man, right? But if I go out into the middle of these beautiful Florida swamps and there's all this primary water and spring heads and beautiful flowing mineralized water, I'm going to put my feet in that water and on that ground, or I'm going to put my feet on the ground outside of my yard, because that's connected, because I don't have the crazy frequencies. We have to be able to discharge and know if we're surrounded by man's frequencies, which is cities. Cities are tough. It's going to be so hard to do anything divine or connected to creation and nature in the way we're supposed to resonate if you're completely in man's box. So that's what freedom's all about. It's going to be very hard to be free in a city. That's not what they're designed for.
No.
Not what they're designed for.
I used to want to live in cities. I used to want to be a city girl, and now the noise, I can't take it. If I have to go to a hotel in the city, which I can't remember last time I was, I can't be by noise. I am so sound sensitive, light sensitive, and I think that's part of, my story. For those people who are here that know my story, I don't even know if you know my story, Spencer, but I got sick and almost died. Our home that was on MTV Cribs was contaminated with toxic mold, and I was getting debilitating migraines, heart attack symptoms, and no doctors could help me. So I had to become my own investigative sleuth and cure myself and my family. And I think that's what happened the past 3 years, when things started going on, when we're like, that ain't right. That
Yeah.
something's wrong with that. So I think that, that's why I love chatting with you. You and I have done a couple of lives together now. We're on the same wavelength, so to speak. We're talking about the same things. But tell us, okay, so what are you holding? What is that?
This is just a copper rod.
Ah.
Concrete below me, my concrete slab is grounded. Usually when your concrete is commercial, there's something called an UFER ground, UFER. And it's 20 linear feet of copper wire that they have to put in a slab, or footings, which is the footings of concrete to hold posts and structural walls. So if you have an UFER ground, that's connected to a rod that's pounded into the dirt. Remember that Schumann resonance?
Mm-hmm.
So your rod outside your house is pounded into the dirt, and it's all connected. And even a slab without an UFER ground on the ground is grounded almost all the time, depending on your concrete companies and where you're getting your concrete from, because it's earthly materials and it actually holds moisture. And I've tested this with an EMF tester. So why do I want to be grounded? Because I do have Wi-Fi at my house, guilty, because I need these high upload speeds to be able to go live with. It's just, but guess what? My Wi-Fi is outside in the barn. Right. And now one direct line to this phone. But if I'm going to be in a small 2.4 to 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi field, that is not natural. The water in my body, this salt water, is going to absorb these frequencies. And that is the frequency my body will be resonating at. And guess what? That's not divine. That's not what we are designed to be vibrating at. Everything that is divine has been kept from us, that was directly connected to God. Unfortunately, they have that knowledge. They want to get you off of your circadian rhythms. They change timelines. They change calendars. They don't want us to understand the lunar calendars. Why is there 13 hexagons on a turtle's back? Why is October 8 and not 10? You know what I'm saying? 10 and not 8. Why?
Right. The month. I just saw that too. So tell me about, what do you know about the Tesla technology? We're not talking about Elon Musk, but we can. But we could talk about him. And but tell me about the Tesla technology and why that's different.
So I do 100% believe Tesla was an amazing mind, a great mind. But I also looked at how many inventions he was inventing and how fast he was inventing them. No one man could invent the amount of things that he was inventing all on their own, out of their head. What I believe, and a lot of people, well, not a lot, very few people believe this, but have looked deep into this. We think that he had a list. Imagine a list of old world patents, and he was giving the task of recreating them. But recreating them with these resources under these circumstances, because now we want U.S. Standard Oil to take over and control the world. We don't want people to be using their grain alcohols to power their cars. They need to be using our oils. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Tesla had all of this old world knowledge. and he had these archives that he was allowed to have access to. He was given access to archives that are kept from everyone. And he, being the brilliant mind that he was, I think he took it to the next level. And what Tesla was doing, and everyone can look this up, the Waldendorf Tower. What was he doing with the Waldendorf Tower? He got funds to create this big tower, and it went in the ground as far as it went up, as above, so below. With that tower, he was to send a wireless transmission across the pond to Europe. Okay. What was Tesla really doing, and why did JP Morgan have it torn down and destroyed and removed from our cognition? Why? Tesla was going to send power. Yep. Right up towards the ionosphere. He was going to send power. And they're like, whoa, 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 that's not good for U.S. Standard Oil.
Right, right. There's a guy here, Hardcore Studios, Voice in the Well, says, and I remember hearing about this. There was a guy that made a car run on water, and didn't he die soon after that?
Yeah. There's a handful of people that have unalived themselves. We have a guy in, oh gosh, I don't want to mess this guy up, poor guy. He has a conversion. He has this old popular video that resurfaced recently, and he converted his vehicle in literally for like $100-something to be water powered. And he's done it for like probably 20 plus of his friends locally in Florida. And he got a visit from what we heard. And
seriously?
On Facebook. I found him on Facebook. He never gets on it. He's like a drummer in some band. He doesn't even care about it. And we all kind of know he was like threatened, like, hey, but he just did it for his friends, converted their automobiles. It was a Ford Explorer. If you ever find the video, yeah, for like just over $100, turned it into a water powered machine.
Unbelievable.
More efficient too.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're all trying with everything so expensive nowadays. There's no question that Bidenomics is working in the opposite way that is beneficial for us. But we have got to use resources. I put copper wires. I've got 4 garden beds, raised garden beds, so I don't have to get on my knees. And Mark Farner, who was the lead singer of Grand Funk Railroad and a friend of Ted's, he told me about putting a copper wire in your vegetable gardens, and he was showing me pictures. I'm like, it's just unbelievable. And I'm not kidding you, Spencer. This spring, within weeks, the vegetables were growing. Like every morning I would walk out there and I'd see the little tiniest little vines grabbing a hold of the arc, what do you call it? Temporarily forgot the name, but the arch over it.
Trellis.
Thank you. The trellis. I mean, it exploded. It was unbelievable. Now I don't know. Can I attribute that to the copper wire? But yeah.
Culture. I've got it right here. I've got my own food in my yard. So remember I told you about Matt from Cultivate Elevate?
Yes.
Matt was one of the first. Matt is he's a very popular guy for all the right reasons. He's very humble, super nice, just a beautiful soul. And Matt from Cultivate Elevate, I had been doing electroculture before Matt even talked about it and it became popular, but he's the one that his channel made electroculture very popular again. And then it blew up. So in 2021, I started saving copper wire from the electric company that I was working for. And I have piles of copper.
Seriously.
Antennas for fun. Yeah, I'll tag you in a video of me making antennas last year, and it works. You're increasing the capacitance, and it's not just copper wires. You can actually create antennas on the north and south. I'm figuring out that people farther north, theirs work a little bit better, different locations. I drink out of a copper cup. You know, we have to why am I drinking out of a copper cup? Why do I use this? This charges my water. My water is living water. It's electrified. It's charged. It's not dead coming out of PVC pipes. What did we used to throw in wishing wells?
Yeah, pennies.
Why?
Pennies, yeah.
Reason why they did that, our pipes used to be copper. Now they're turning into plastic, DuPont plastic. We've got to kind of understand what's really going on here. You know, this ties into the lead-based paint. Frequencies and all of this stuff directly relates to our health. And when your food is being grown with this copper, it as well it's going to be so much more efficient itself because you're charging it. You're increasing the capacitance of the electromagnetic field that's around each individual plant. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately, we used to think if somebody said, I'm from the government, I'm here to help, that's a good thing. But those are terrifying words. I think it was Reagan that said that. Uh, and
Yep.
and it's interesting that unfortunately we cannot trust the government. Unfortunately, they've flipped upside down the food pyramid, and now apparently Frosted Flakes are healthier for you than a steak. And they've taken away everything. Everything is wrapped in plastic. And in Texas, we see Ted, and it just drives me nuts because when I get sick,
Mhm.
again, one of the things I remember hearing about, well, I went to Dr. William Ray at the Environmental Health Center in Dallas, Texas. Suzanne Summers wrote about him. He was actually my doctor. And when I first saw him, I went to the Environmental Health Center. Basically, I'm done here. I can't walk. Ted had to literally, he took me there, dropped me off, and he had to go on tour. And I had to get basically detoxified. I did vitamin IVs, infrared sauna, oxygen, massage, change my diet every single day. But when I was there for a month, and Dr. Ray, I was drinking out of a plastic water bottle, the Dasani or whatever, and he said, you cannot drink out of these. The plastic, when it's heated, which, okay, think about summer in Texas, it's 110 degrees. Okay. You've got a whole, think of all those water bottles wrapped, they're plastic water bottles wrapped in plastic. Gas stations have them sitting outside cooking in the sun.
Absolutely.
And we wonder why our kids aren't healthy. We wonder why our kids are getting more cancer and we're getting more cancer. They're trying to kill us, is what I think. Spencer, what do you think?
Um, I think there is. I've had some pretty extremely deep rants on a couple podcasts about they're trying to kill us. We got to watch that word. They're trying to unalive us. Let's say unalive, just for the algorithms. I've talked about that in depth. There is a value to us not here. They clear our social security accounts at death and probate when we're gone. And so massive, massive, massive amounts of money and ledgers are cleared and massive debts can be paid off, bigger than the numbers that people can even comprehend when a human with a social security number in a crown country passes. So do I think that there is value to that and they have systems for that? Yes, I think they can localize it. I think they can make it specific to demographics. Imagine if you're older and you're past a certain age, your social security account has reached its age of majority and you're past 75 and you're not bringing any more value to the system. And then they can cash out on all of your bonds in your social security account. People don't know about this. There's a value to you being unalive. Yes. When we go to war, when a military member passes, there's a value to that. That is why I am so upset when my buddies are so messed up when they come back and I have to. And, I told you one time, I'm like, I've gotten like 3 or 4 of the most real hugs in my entire life. I'm not a military member. I wasn't allowed in for skin cancer. They didn't let me in. I was on my way to California. They're like, nope, you got to go. You're done. Permanently DQ'd from any branch, but a lot of my buddies went. And I've had deep conversations about, you know, why you're valuable alive and why you're valuable not alive. All of us. And it's not just military. US citizens have almost the same status as military. That's just another contract. There's a whole estate and fund attached to the military. There's all these funds that they're just clearing ledgers. And it's this big war government game where they're playing Monopoly with ledgers attached to our physical bodies. And that's when it comes to depopulation. I do understand why they would do that. But at the same time, I also know that they know we're the most valuable beings on the planet, as in, if you have some crazy technology device and people are like, oh, AI is going to take over, I don't care what robot you have. We are so much more divine and more powerful. And they know this. They know this because we have all of this divine DNA in us still, even though they've manipulated a lot of us and they're trying to manipulate us out of this. We are the most divine walking antennas. We can receive signals and we can transmute and broadcast them back out into something beautiful. We can take unhealing frequencies if we know what we're doing, and we can heal ourselves and turn them divine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you have a wind chime in the background? I can hear it.
I'm sorry, I do.
No, it's great.
So do you know why it's there, guys?
Frequency?
Harmonic interference. So
Mm.
that wind chime is literally, and no, I didn't technically plan it perfectly this way. That wind chime is directly in between this Wi-Fi signal coming to my phone right now. And I love that. So wind can blow in and out of this open barn house area. And this is where we spend most of our time. And that wind chime is constantly clearing the air. It's tuned to A at 432 hertz. I think that went right over Ted's head, but I'll send you guys something. If you guys ever sit down and watch something together, I'll send you guys something really good on hertz and frequencies. A lot of people know about these A at 432 hertz. And, you know, what's God's favorite number? The golden ratio. It's all about creation. This is the physics side, not the metaphysics. So people get frustrated. They're like, oh, you're worshiping. It's like, no, we are understanding creation and physics as we are supposed to be our own scientists. And even when people, they always get onto me for trying to learn the stars. And I'm like, guys, I didn't grow up in a church, so I was never told not to try to learn the signs. Our Bibles tell us that those are our signs. And to me, that is the first true language, because those were here before us. If we read Genesis and Revelation, those signs are divine. They come from God. And that is the first and only unaltered script that is unaltered by man. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We don't worship that stuff.
No.
We need to understand it and use it. Connect. And I think that is one of those things that goes right into, oh, he's playing with frequencies. It's like, no, I'm bringing them so I can be closer with God and have a beautiful connection. The divine frequencies builds us up, so we require less energy from them.
Yeah, you're utilizing less energy, you're healthier and stronger. God wants us to be strong. There was a comment here that there's a 5G right outside this guy's window. I used, and one of my Faith and Freedom show sponsors is Sparrow Gear. And I have Faraday bags. I'm sure you do, right? Faraday bags. They really work. And if you guys watching, if you want to get a if you want to get anything that blocks that EMF, that radiation, that frequency, go to spirogear.com and you can get a discount using the promo code FAITH. But those work. A lot of people are skeptical when I show them, but I don't have it with me. I brought it upstairs. It's just a silver lined bag it's nothing, you know, it's just floppy, but you put your phone in it. You can have your phone turned on, put your phone in it, and nobody can reach you, nobody can contact you, nobody can listen to your conversations, nobody can track you. And it's something that's, I think it's really important that we need to put in our tool chest of things that can help us. So I think I need to wrap up. Spencer, any last words that you can share with people about frequency and technology?
Yeah, if we're going to be in these fields for long periods of time throughout the day, and we're in plastic shoes and plastic socks and plastic clothes, you know, like our work uniforms, for example, you know, if we are not divinely vibrating with linens and organic cottons, and we're not connected to all the things of earth as we should, and we're in these fields, that is man controlling the frequency. And when you're stuck in man's frequency control, from our music, the way our music is projected digitally to us, to all of the Wi-Fi fields, high voltage, everything, if you're in their fields, they're controlling your frequency, and that's very powerful. And you have to be a very in tune, powerful person to defeat that in their fields. So I highly suggest everybody starts looking into step one: ground as much as possible. Not while you're working on high voltage electric. If you're an electrician, we all know this, but we ground as much as possible. Get your bare feet on the ground. Look into grounding sheets, pillowcases, grounding mats, PEMF mats, because all of our bodies need to discharge. We're all full of it if we're saying we're not on our phones all day.
I know everybody is, and I think that's really important, though. Okay, how are you going to counteract that?
Correct.
And I mean, there was somebody that says they don't use their phone. And you're right. We're all on technology. We're all using it. But I think it's really important. Another thing that has helped me with sleep is I'm shocked that people will put their cell phone right next to their head. I had to get on my husband. I'm like, dude, stop. Turn it off. Put it in your Faraday bag. Thank you I forgot the word Faraday bag. Put it in your Faraday bag. Shut it down. And we don't need to have our phones glued to us 24/7. Is that, Spencer, not worshiping our phone? My
Yeah.
son said it this way. He said, what happened to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden? They worshiped the apple. What are we doing? We got our heads bowed to the apple.
What a coincidence. That I don't think they're coincidences, Shemaine.
Yeah.
We're all over it, and we need to reconnect. If we are grounded and we connect to all of the divine frequencies of creation, and we relearn nature and how we are supposed to be connected to creation, all of these trees can be antennas. They're just like us. They're electromagnetic. When we learn this stuff, when we learn why they took the bells, when we learn why I have this wind chime here, all of those massive bells, they destroyed them, like the Liberty Bell. There was hundreds of thousands of them all over the world in those big triumphant arches. They were controlling the frequency of the lands. Those had to be removed after World War II. They took them all out, just so you guys know, look into it. But we have got to reconnect, and then our energy and circadian rhythms come up, and then we start connecting more. We will be able to connect more to God and everything we are designed to connect to. But if not, they're going to control the frequencies, and they're going to control us as little debt slaves, as their little byproduct.
Yeah, we'll just keep our heads down. That's how they want us. Keep our heads down. We're entertained. We're distracted and entertained by these things, but we want to use this for good. And Spencer, I thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your expertise. How can people find you?
You guys can find me on TikTok, Spencer from Florida, but that's SPENSER from Florida on TikTok. There's about 80,000 followers there. I've got about 20,000 on Instagram, Spencer, SPENSER.BAHR, Spencer Barr on Instagram. You guys will find me there. I've got about 20,000 followers there. I do truck rants all the time. I'll talk about any topic with anybody, and I think Shemaine and I are going to be all over it for a while. And I really want to get some cool guests on my page and Shemaine's page that we can interview like this and just cover these topics that we know people have studied in depth. We want to get those new gurus, those new age gurus that are trying to connect us to the right things. We want to get in connection with them and network with them and make sure that their voice is being heard. So thank you, Shemaine, for having me on very much. I really appreciate you.
All right, Spencer. Well, take care, and I'm sure I'll be talking with you soon.
All right,
everybody. Have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget my show, Faith and Freedom, on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern on realamericasvoice.com. And check out Sparrow Gear, SPERO gear.com, and use the code FAITH for a discount. All right, guys, have a great day, and Happy New Year.
Happy Saturday. Happy New Year. Bye, guys.
Bye.